Hello and welcome back to another Roblox programming tutorial, and today we are talking about part 2 in how to use tables, how they are used inside of Roblox Studio, and what we can do with them and why they are so important. And this is a precursor concept to talking about module scripts, and then later the idea of object-oriented programming, which is so essential to programming in the world, and something that you will absolutely want to learn if you want to become a great game developer and programmer. So in the last video, I talked about the very basics of how tables are used. Want to amend something. In Roblox Studio, you don't have to worry about the difference between an array, a list, and a set. I talked about it in that video. You don't have to worry about that. You can consider everything inside of Roblox Studio to be a table or an array. No, in other programming languages, they are not the same, but they are treated as the same inside of Roblox Studio and inside of Lua. So just keep that in mind. It's kind of an important concept. So let's go ahead and talk here. So to begin here, just to review what a table is, local table or local data is information about is a container for information. So I can put different data in here, like numbers. I can put like a true, for example. I can put, nil, and I can put color3 dot new, for example, here, and do like 1, 0, 0. Right? This is a whole bunch of information, right? This is a container of data, and it's stored with this variable name, right? So this is a good example of what a table is. Now, inside of programming, when we generally work with tables, there's this acronym we like to use called CRUD. CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. And it's the 4 primary operations that you can always use and essentially do stuff with when you're working with tables, right? So let's go ahead and look at those. So the easiest one to do is to read. So we'll go ahead and read information from this table. To read information, all you're going to do is just type in the variable name of your table, which in this case is data. If I change this to something else, it wouldn't be data. And then I put a bracket here, and I type in the index number, aligning with where it is inside of here. Keep in mind, inside of Roblox Studio, tables start with 1 and end at wherever the table's length is. Tables do not start with 0. So if you're coming from a different programming language, know that in Roblox Studio it always starts with 1, or in Lua it always starts with 1. And as you can see here, when I run the game, it's going to print the first value here, and then here it'll print the second value, so on and so forth. And this is how you can read information from a table to be used into your game, right? So the second one we're going to look at is the idea of updating data, right? So let's say this represents something about a part or a player, but let's say it's their birthday. So, I have to update their information, right? Actually, let's do a really good example. Let's say this is a customer in a business. Let's say the first represents their age, represents whether they can buy from the store, represents what's another thing? Say age and size from the store. Let's just do that, right? So two values here that we're keeping track of. This could also be like an email address. So irock@gmail.com, right? So for example, like these 3 things could be about a customer. So this represents their age, whether they can purchase from the store or have a membership, and then their email address, right? So let's say that the customer's new age, they were 10 and now they're 11. So customer, and then I go to the value here, which is 1. So 1 is the indexing value of the age here, and I set that to customer age plus 1. Now if I print the customer's age, I will get 11 right here, right? So this is how you can update information, right? And let's say the customer had a new email address, so I would go customer3, and I can type in the new email address here. So is now, I don't rock. I do not rock. info@gmail.com, right? If I go ahead and print 3 here, I have now updated their email address. So if I print their email address, it's right there, right? So this is, again, how you can update tables and update information based on, new information coming. But that's the second main operation you can do with tables. It's going to be to read tables. You can update tables. Now, let's look at the idea of creating new value inside of the table. So keep in mind from last time, notice this only has 3 indices right now. If I go and try and find a 4th indice, I'm going to get nil here because there isn't a 4th indice here, right? So that doesn't make any sense. So it kind of gets confused and is like, what are you talking about? There's no 4th indice here. It's non-existent. So if I want to insert a 4th indice, I'm going to go to the library of table functions, and I'm going to click dot here. And there's a whole bunch of different operations here that you can do. For example, you can iterate over each item in the table. You can unpack stuff from a tuple or a list. You can freeze a table to make sure that nobody can read it. You can concatenate 2 strings together. You can clone a table. You can clear a table. You can sort a table. You can pack a table. Do a whole bunch of stuff, right? But insert allows you to insert a new value into that table. So you're going to do table insert. You're going to type in the table name and then the value you want to add. So let's say they now enter in the name. So this is me, Anthony, right? Now, if I print 4, this is going to be my name, and it's going to print just like so, right? And then on top of that, if I want to delete information from a table, we'll do table.delete, or it's remove. Excuse me, it's not remove, it's remove. So table.remove, and let's say I want to remove the first element here. I'm going to go ahead and put in the first element, and it's going to remove the specified element from the array, and it's going to shift later elements down to fill that empty space if possible. So I'm going to go ahead and do 1 here, and if I print 1, you're going to get an invalid argument because 1 is no longer a part of that table, right? So I've removed 1 from that. So if I print now the customer, the table lists itself, and I run it. Oh, I think I misspelled customer. Bad, remove. Oh, whoops, I gotta specify the table first, my bad. Specify the table, then the number you would like to remove. All right, my bad. Now, when I run this, notice I now have 1 is true, 2 is IROC. So that's how you can delete or remove information from a table. And these 4 operations are known as CRUD operations and are insanely useful. So to finish out, we'll talk about key value mapping pairs next time. We won't talk about that in this video. Let's go ahead and look at an example of how we can use this in actual scripting. So let's go ahead and create a variable here for part_prop or part properties. And let's say I want this to be the transparency. I'm going to let this be the anchored, the can collide, and then the name will be cool parts. All right, and then here I can even add something else. Color. We'll do color. So color3 dot new. And we'll make it green. Oops. Or yellow. I like yellow. Right. All right. So here's the part here. Notice none of that stuff has been done. Here's its current properties. And then here's what we want to change it to, and I'll make it even more transparent. So what I can do now is I can create a local part is script.parent, and now I can go to the different part properties here, and I can go part.color is equal to part properties, and then put a bracket here and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, and it's going to pull the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th value here and put it here. I'm going to do parts dot anchored, and I can do that to part properties 2, and I can go part can collide, and set that to part properties :3. And I can do part dot transparency and set that equal to part properties :1, right? And then I can do part dot, what was the last one? Can't collide anchored name is equal to part properties, and then this would be 2, right? And then the idea now is I have all of these mapped. So if something ever changes, like for example, let's say, I need to update the name later in the script. So let's say I wait, 3 seconds, right? I'm now gonna go, part properties dot, or part properties 2, is now not that, but it's not cool parts. And then I can update the part.name. Right, so let's go ahead and see this in action here. And this is what makes tables so valuable. I don't have any printing, do I? No. All right, let's go ahead and look over here. So here is my parts. Whoops, 2, that's not the part.name. My bad. 1, 2, 3, 4 was the part.name. My bad. Typo. There we go. Alright. So I come over here to my workspace. There's my nice little yellow transparent part. And as you can see, it started out here. Here, let me run the script again. Let's make that weight like 10 so you can see it change. So it's going to change, and all those properties about this part are going to load. It's now a cool part, and then in 10 seconds, it will change its name to not cool part, right? And if I ever want to create any differences inside of the script, everything is contained within the table. So I can read, use, and delete information from that table and not have things listed as you've seen in other scripts. And this is what makes the table so important. So in the next video, we'll talk a little bit about key value pairs, but this is a very practical example of how you can use tables inside of programming. Awesome. So if you learned anything, let us know. Leave a comment and a like in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.